Good morning, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to day two of the grief relief. I'm going to be here about 30 minutes like yesterday, everyone. So, today we're talking about four different topics here. I'm sharing all the group pages as well as on TM. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube, everyone. So, today's topics right here to your right, we have what triggers come to mind? What are your emotions like every day? How do you celebrate holidays, birthdays, and anniversaries? And where do you stand in your grief? So, we're going to go over those components. So, for myself, and I'm going to put myself out there, what triggers come to mind? When I'm dealing with grief overall, what triggers me is going to places that I used to go to, restaurants, grocery stores, gas stations, uh, department stores. That's what triggers me, and that's what comes to mind. Certain uh, movies that are shown on TV reminds me of my loved ones. Certain meals that are cooked remind me of my loved ones. Certain songs that are played, or even TV shows, reminds me of my loved ones, and thinking about them brings so much emotion. It also makes me cry, but it also makes me happy at the same time. So it's more like a bittersweet. I would say that those triggers trigger something inside of me. The mention of their names triggers something inside of me. Uh, the way people express things towards me regarding my loved one affects me because I have a different perspective than they do. So that gets me a little angry and upset about how they expect me to feel. And honestly, truthfully, I don't really like to have those kind of conversations regarding my loved one at times because certain things I don't like to mention because I am personally not there yet to speak about it. Like this morning, taking my husband to work. My mama used to go to the Shell gas station right down the street and everything. And we haven't been to that gas station in so long. And it really started triggering, but at the same time, everyone, I think about it as that was my past. And that's where I used to go get gas. Because my mom used to go get gas there. My husband used to work there. He got gas. I've gotten gas. It was a history of being at that particular gas station. And it almost triggered something inside of me, and something in the back of my mind said, hey, that is your past. So don't let it affect your day or throw you off course. And it didn't, because I thought I was going to break down, but I didn't. I stood my ground. And that's where I'm at with certain things in my life. Like for Mother's Day, I cried, I got upset, I got frustrated, and everything of that. My dad went and got my mom's favorite plate. That really boiled inside my spirit because I didn't like that. I should have addressed it, but I didn't because of the respect of him. And he felt happy and satisfied, but it did something inside of me that broke me into pieces. That I really didn't like that fact that that happened, and that just goes to show I have to work on being very vocal and open in regarding that situation of things that I'm not ready to involve myself in. I don't like to be forced to do something, and I definitely don't like to be pushed at times when it comes to things that are very uncomfortable to me. And that's dealing with situations that I don't want to deal with. When I'm not ready to deal with it, I'm not going to deal with it. And that's where I am with my grief. And I don't want to deal with it. I'm not ready to deal with it. When I finally get it in my mind and in my heart that I'm ready to pursue it, then I'm going to move forward. And that's the thing about it. I take as much time that I need to deal with these things each and every day. So whatever triggers that you have, ladies and gentlemen, and children, start pinpointing those things. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, don't do it. If you're not ready to pursue that challenge, don't force yourself and don't allow anybody to force you to do something you're not ready to do. Give me a moment. All right, everybody, I'm back. So the next question talks about I'm cooking today, so I'm cooking and doing a live. That's crazy. And then I got a lot of things to do after I get off this live. So the next question is, what are your emotions like every day? For myself, and I'm putting myself out here. I told you I'm going to be more transparent in these lives so you can know who Pastor J really is as a person. My emotions are up and down. Okay, whatever your emotions may be every day, it's up and down. One minute I may be happy, one minute I may be sad, one minute I may be depressed, one minute I may be uncertain, one day I may be solemn. Yesterday I was solemn. Nobody knew, but those who were dear close to me, which my oldest daughter, like something wrong with mom. She's not very talkative. When I get silent and not quiet and not talking, that's a problem because I know there's something wrong with me. She kept pushing my buttons, and when I began to open up and share with her and her other sister, were my second oldest daughter, they'd be like, "Oh, okay," and then teenagers, they just show that teenager love, and they begin to really share some things that they felt like, teenagers just showing their love. And a child knows when something wrong with their mama. And she definitely knew that. Because she could tell. She said, "Stop not being honest with me, Miss." And she like to call me Miss Johnson. I'm like, "Girl." But I just want to let you all know that I have that relationship with my kids, okay? And she knew, being that her mother can be very talkative at times, but when I don't say nothing, that bothers her because she knows something's not right with me. And she can tell when I'm not in my right spirit or in my right mind. And she knows that, being my oldest daughter, and my second oldest can pick up on it too, and my son as well. So they all can pick up things about me that they know I'm going through something, and they know it's challenging at times. But it's good to have a great support system. My husband does the same as well. He can tell something wrong with me. We actually had a conversation this past weekend because he was off this weekend, and he said, "You're a little too quiet. You're looking up in the sky, and your mind is somewhere else." And he's reminding you everything is going to be all right. Just continue to praise God, doing whatever you're going through, and it makes sense. So, hubby, if you're listening now or the replay, I really appreciate you. Okay. So, for instance, everyone, what are your emotions like every day? I basically gave you an example of what I'm like every other day. We're not going to always be happy and full of life all the time. We all have our good days and bad days. I'm contest to that for myself, but I'm open and honest to share and share my experience with you all. Ironically, this is probably in years since my mama passed that I'm starting to make a different. I'm turning in a different direction. That grief knocked the wind out of me. I'm serious. It knocked the wind out of me because I'm a new version of myself. And I am not that same Trisha everybody know, remarkable queen of inspiration, queen, remarkable, all of that. That version of me had a mother. This version of me does not have a mother. So I had to really go through some things to really get myself back on course. Because if I didn't really deal with me, then I don't know what I would be. And the thing about it is, when you do a self evaluation check on yourself, ladies and gentlemen and children, you begin to understand that, hey, you got to work on you. Because if you don't work on you, who's going to work on you? The thing about it is, everyone, the progress of getting through grief and living a different life is so different. It is not an easy road. It's very, very challenging. And what I mean is, you're not going to have that same mindset or that same vibrant of life that you did when those loved ones were here. Your perspective of life changed, your heart changed, your viewpoint completely changed. And you start looking at life completely, totally differently. And you begin to really realize that, hey, I am not that person I was when my loved ones were here, or my friends, or my child was here. There's something different about me. And you getting to know you is very, very beneficiary because now you know that you have some things that you have to work in within yourself, right? And by you working on yourself, you begin to know what triggers you, what gets you all hyped up, what breaks you down, and what really brings you to a place of complacency. And you begin to really think about, man, I wish I could go back in time. A lot of us wish that we can go back in time, but in true honesty and truthfully, we can't go back in time. We can only push forward. And the thing about pushing forward is the most difficult thing that any of us who are in the human experience have to deal with. And we have to deal with these things at hand because it's triggering inside of us. And what triggers us causes us to be complacent. And complacence means that, oh, I used to be this way, when no, you can't go back there. We can relive it in our mind, but in reality, in our minds, that doesn't exist anymore. It's only a memory. And that's what hurts so many of us each and every day. Now, as we look at our third point, it talks about how do you celebrate holidays, birthdays, and anniversaries. I'm going to tell you this. For holidays, let's go down the line. Easter, I don't have much of a grief emotion. Okay. Easter doesn't, my grief doesn't affect me on Easter, but I can go back and recall the time when me and my mom used to go to church, early sunrise church at Hilltop, and it's in Riviera Beach, Florida. And we used to get up every year around that time. And I really enjoyed that moment because we spend that quality time together. It was just something about a mother and daughter's bond. That bond was so phenomenal. And plus, I was forced to go to church anyway at that age. So it wasn't, oh, you're going to stay home and sleep on a Sunday. I was forced to go. But that's not the part I want to get you to understand. The part I want you to get to understand is that that was a memory that I'm spending time with my mom, that we are going to church every Easter at 6 o'clock. We used to get up. Actually, she get up about five something. Get me up, get dressed. She always had this white purse, like a white pocketbook. She had her shawl on and her nice, beautiful dress that she would wear, and her white shoes. I know we were going to Hilltop when she put on the white shoes. Okay, she loved them white shoes and that particular outfit that she always wear. And the thing about it was beautiful because being there, sitting with my mom, really spending that time with her. I don't know what the pastor was talking about at the time, but I just enjoyed just being there with her because she was a woman of faith. She was a woman that believed in so much and had so much firm beliefs and things, and she just had a heart of God in her, and she was just so loving and compassionate. And I just remember every year we used to get up early in the morning, 5:45, 5:30, get dressed. Of course, I was moody, didn't want to get up. Trisha, and get up. And she keep coming on in because she was very persistent. But she did it with love. And I can tell you the thing about that I love so much about her, that she loved, and she loved so strong. Okay. So, of course, after church, I had my Easter basket and everything that was given unto me. I just enjoyed that. And two, we one time we went shopping for Easter dresses so I could look very pretty for Easter with my dress on and my shoes and my hat and everything. Because back then my hair was all natural, and I didn't start wearing braids. I just started getting perms until I got in my later, you know, ages in elementary. I started getting my first perm until I was about maybe 10 or 11. That's when I wanted to let my hair, see how long my hair got and whatnot. And I go to show that my mom worked so hard to get my hair to where it needed to be. And when I tell you she was so dedicated in doing that, that she really wanted to make sure her daughter hair grew to the capacity. And what my silly butt did years later when it cut my hair like a fool, like, what was I thinking? I was not in that, how do I say, right state of mind at the time. And then, of course, she got like, why you cut your hair, Trisha? And I was just on some other stuff. And it took forever, honestly, for me and my hair to grow back. I don't even know what I was thinking. And I don't even know if I'm sharing that with y'all. But the simple point is that even though I made that bad decision or I made that bad choice, she still showed that heart of gratitude towards me. She really showed that even though I made mistakes or fell short, she always showed that love and kindness and reminded me and always would listen. That was so amazing about my mom. She will always listen to me. She will always listen to the things I deal with and all the things that I face and things I've experienced because she knew how I am. All right. So Easter is not so bad for me. Mother's Day, that's a whole nother game. I can remember the year before she passed, I was so encouraged to get her this big, huge Mother's Day card, $3. I said, I'm gonna get that for my mama for Mother's Day. And I got a picture of her holding that card on Mother's Day because I was determined. I still got that card in the room because that was for me, because that's my token of love towards her. Because I knew deep down inside she deserved that. And I did that for her on Mother's Day. And I can always go back and reflect on that to know I did that for Mama. I got her that big old card. Even though her being sick and having all kind of underlying conditions, I went and did that because I wanted her to know how much I loved her. And I did that year. And I can go to say and go back and now I'm proud. I'm glad I did invest in that. I really am. Then, moving forward, 2020 was a year. Everything starts spiraling out of control. I didn't realize that that'll be the last year I'll be wishing her a happy Mother's Day, a happy birthday, or even a happy fourth or a Easter or a happy New Year. That year was challenging for so many of us in 2020. A lot of us lost people in our lives, and a lot of them have went on. And I tell you, everybody, it's been hard and rough for me because then I knew deep down inside that my life was going to be different. My perspective of life was going to be different. The day that my mom had passed, my life changed. My life went into a spiral of overload. Anything anybody could say to me didn't help. But I know one person that did reach me. That's my godmama. She said something to me that sticks with me each and every time I have my highs and lows. That she reminded me that I got to get it together. And she's right. I had to get it together. And truth be told, when she got me back on track, I began to really start gravitating. But in the beginning of my grief, I was a mess. The first year is the hardest for those who are celebrating Mother's Day. It's something about that day that does something to a lot of us that really gets us in a turmoil of emotion. Okay. And we just really just be in our feelings. And many of the people want you to be okay, but in actuality, ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to not be in your feelings on this day because you see everybody else giving their mamas flowers or giving their mama cars, taking them out to restaurant, churches, and concerts, all these beautiful things that you're doing. But when you knew, when you, how do I say it? When you know you did that before your mom had passed, it's a different lifestyle because you had your opportunity while she was here. For those who had that opportunity to have that relationship. Now we have people who have moms that are around and they don't get that same experience like I and many of did. You're grieving too because you want your mom to love you. You want your mom to show their affection. You want your mom to be there in your life. But she's not available to you for whatever the circumstances that you are. That she's in. So you're grieving as well in those who mom's not physically here. See, we got to look at it in different scenarios. We have those grieving their moms who not in their life or present, and we have those who are grieving the loss of their mama who's no longer here earthly. So we have to understand how does the holiday affect them. They feel pains and emotions too, and they want to know how it feels to be loved and appreciated. So we have to look at it in different scenarios, everybody. We got those who are grieving to have their mother in their life, to be there for them. Their mothers are physically here, but they're not getting that same treatment. because of the scenario of what's going on. And the thing about it is, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you are grieving, it is deep, it is personal, it's something that you have to go through. And many of you, like Pastor Jay, there's a difference between the grief that you're talking about. Pain is pain, hurt is hurt, love is love. And what I want you to understand is every holiday has a different feel to it. So, whatever memories you have for Easter, what memories you have for Mother's Day, what was your memories for Father's Days, those are memories you cherish with you. And you carry that in your heart every single day because that's what matters to you, everyone. That's what really matters to you. And when you begin to really self evaluate these things, you be like, this is what this is. I have memories. I have memories that I can cherish for the rest of my life. I understood what love was in my life, and I didn't have that opportunity to make things right. But now I'm taking a chance right now to really say, I want this. I want this to work. I want to be happy again. I want to feel things that is important to me. And when you share these things with yourself, ladies and gentlemen, you start to really take a real broad picture of things. So we have Easter, we have Mother's Day, we have Father's Day, we have the 4th of July, okay? We have all these different major holidays. We have Memorial Day, we have Labor Day, we have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas. We have all these things that are in mind. Those emotions are real. Those feelings are real. And they're valid to you. Birthday came around. I was not myself. Last week was my mother's birthday. She turned 74 years old. I was not okay. Because it felt like 2020 all over again. Okay. It felt like 2020 all over again. And it's funny that you start feeling these things again after the fact. And I was going through it. I was going through it. I really was in my feelings. Like I had to take some time off of social media to deal with me because only I could deal with me, and I continue to say that very broadly. Last week was a rough week for me, and I'm not gonna even play. Birthdays and holidays are really bad. Mother's Day is the worst. 4th of July is just as bad. Thanksgiving and Christmas is just as rough for me. Easter I can kind of bounce back, but baby, let me tell you this. Easter, I can bounce back. Mother's Day, uh, 4th of July, Christmas, and Thanksgiving, I can't hang. I cannot hang. I just can't because my emotions run so high, and I'm just so overwhelmed with so much in my mind that I can't really function, and it really triggers some things inside of me that really brings things to a boil. So whatever holidays and birthdays look like for you, let me tell you something. It's not easy. So don't ever feel like it is, ladies and gentlemen, because it's not. It's a very difficult and challenging situation to go ahead. Give me a second. All right, I'm back, everybody. So moving forward. Now, as I talk about holidays and birthdays, anniversaries. Now, you thought holidays and birthday was something. Anniversaries just as worse. The first year is the rough year. Moving forward, it's harder every year for many of us who are very close to our loved ones and even friends because it reminds of that strong bond that we have. So whatever it is that you do on those anniversaries, take time and celebrate or apply self-care to your life because it's so very beneficiary. Okay. For the anniversary part, I tried to do something different. I had posted a video last year of my mother, and of course, I didn't get much response for that. I even tried to get my family to say something, that reminds them about my mom. some good values and whatnot. Nobody didn't want to really participate on that, which broke my heart because I really thought like it would really work, but unfortunately it didn't. And I had to come to realize that everybody grieves differently. And I tried to do that because my therapist recommended I would try doing that and really start seeing how people really felt about my mom overall. But people have their own viewpoints about it. They just feel the way they feel. And I said it didn't work. It failed miserably. Nobody wanted to have those type of moments. And she asked me how did I celebrate my mom. I just chilled. I didn't go to the cemetery, and I really haven't been to the cemetery in a while. I stopped going. The first 2 years I went, but now I don't even go anymore because there's nothing there for me. I know where she is, and I had to get that to my mind. I remember one year I went to the cemetery on my birthday. Yeah, on my birthday. That was probably the worstest birthday ever. But let's just say this past 40th birthday that just has passed, I really enjoyed myself because I wasn't grieving and I wasn't in any type of agony. But a few days later, it slapped me in the face. Said, "Oh, I'm gonna get you!" Bam, right there. But it happened during the weekend. Okay, and what that really looked like, everybody, is that I really took initiative to really evaluate some things in my life. And I really had to sit back and say, Trisha, do you want to continue to have the same mindset or you want to do something different? And the thing about it is, I want to do something different. And I did this year for my birthday. I really did because it really goes to show that I have grown tremendously with dealing with things at hand. I can remember going out to the cemetery one Sunday, me and my husband went out there. I used to go out there so much, just talking to my mom, just breaking down my mom and my grandma right next to each other. And I just be like, Mom, I miss you so much. And I was expressing some things that I was feeling and dealing with. And I got to a place that I don't go out there anymore because it wasn't really helping me. It was causing me to be in a more deeper in a dark depression. And many of you may have seen footage of me at the cemetery. I think I have put videos up on my social media platform that I went to the cemetery and went there and started talking and expressing my point of view about things. And I tell you, it really it really showed me that I really needed to get myself together, and it really showed me that I had some things I needed to work on. And what that was is I really had to come to the decision: do I want to continue to live in this mindset, or do I want to see something more better for myself? So since I made that decision, I decided not to no longer do it anymore. What I'm sharing with you all today is whatever it is that you do on holidays, birthdays, and anniversaries, it's what you want to do, not what other people forcing you to do. And that's the thing about it is people want you to be happy all the time. People want you to feel this. When you feel what you feel, it's what you feel. So don't ever feel as if you have to meet the expectation of people. Because people's job is to make you happy and bring joy into your life. But if you don't feel like it, you don't have to. You're not obligated to feel that way. And the thing about it is, I've learned that when you have gotten yourself to a place, ladies and gentlemen and children, where you really want to pursue the opportunity of pushing past those obstacles and hurdles in your life, you will do so based on how you feel. And if you're not feeling good on the inside out, don't let anybody force you to do something. Well, my parents said this, and my parents said that, or my cousin and my best friend. It's good to have support system, but let's just be honest. Okay? Take their opinions to heart, okay, and sit down and meditate. And when I mean meditate, I mean really absorb what you are experiencing at that moment. When it comes to holidays, when it comes to birthdays, when it comes to anniversaries, okay? Um, People a lot of times don't know what to say when somebody's going through this. The best solution is to pray for them, okay? The best solution is to pray for them. That's the best solution to do and give the proper advice. He's like, what do you mean proper? You got to use the right words when you know somebody going through something in this scenario, and it's an ongoing thing. And you have to look at it like this: what is it that they want to get out of it that's going to help them become better and productive each and every day? And the thing about it is, when they start becoming productive and evaluating these key points in their life, ladies and gentlemen, and children, they start having a different outlook on life. And it's the most phenomenal and baseline scenario that comes to mind. Now, let's look at our last point here today. Where do you stand in your grief? Many of us have different parts of grief where we stand in. For myself, I have gotten to the phases of finding closure and happiness. That's where I'm at right now, closure and happiness. And what that looks like for me, I have to find closure within myself, and I have to find true happiness within. I've been struggling with that for a very long time. And a lot of us are trying to get to that place where we're trying to figure out how can we be this new person? How can we adjust to this new lifestyle? How can we get our minds and hearts wrapped around these things? You have to take time and self evaluate yourself. And by doing that, you have to disconnect from things that really doesn't mean you any good, ladies and gentlemen. And what I mean is, when you understand that you want to see something good come out of a situation that looks so dark and gothic, you begin to realize, hey, I want to be productive. I want to be amazing. I want to be phenomenal in everything I do. But I have to take accountability that where I stand with my grief, my friends, my cousins, my loved ones, everyone around me don't have that kind of mindset. See, society is so quick to move forward and move on, but when it's put in their face like a light bulb, then they start talking and then they start sharing it. Society and community don't talk about grief as much as they need to because it feels like it's something that this world don't need to hear. But reality, we need to deal with this. This can't be avoided. There's so many people leaving here every single day, and people are like, I don't want to talk about it. Well, you may not want to talk about it, but I want to talk about it because in order for us to heal from this, we have to speak about this. You can't ignore what somebody's going through. You may not want to share it, but I personally do, and somebody who connected to me want to talk about this because they are going through this. And they need to know that they can come to somebody and confide to them about what they're experiencing. It's the reality of this. We're in a culture right now that once we get it all said and done, we go through you know, the person has passed, we say our goodbyes, our farewells, and everything of that sort. Then we get ready for the funerals, family traveling thousands of miles from near or far to come to say they pay their respects and whatnot. And then once the funeral and everything, and put them in the ground in the cemetery, and then at the repast, everybody take pictures, this and that. Everybody disperse. So how is somebody living after all that's said and done? I honestly feel it has been a struggle for me the first 3 years. And I get so angry and frustrated. See, when you tell somebody you love them, you mean what you say, not just say it just because it's something fancy to say. I'm very open and transparent about the things that I feel, about how I feel, because that's just who I am. And many of you may agree to this, or many of you may not. But the irony of it is, when you are sad and when you're down in your spirit, you're not going to be productive and you're not going to always have the right thing to say or how to handle these things. And you're going to feel conflicted. You're going to feel like you're obligated to please everybody. If you don't feel right in your spirit, take some time for you. Self care, self awareness, all those things we're going to talk about later on this week. So I just want to close by saying this, everybody. Wherever you are in your grief, you have the permission to disconnect and deal with you and really start taking some time to asking yourself these 5 questions. What can I do to be a different version of me? And what I mean is, what is it that I have to face? And what do I have to go through in order to push through these hurdles that has got me in complacent. So that's something to really consider today, that you have to work on you. And again, I'm going to give you these 5 points. The first one is identify. The second one is to execute. The third one is to isolate it. The fourth one is to be determined. And the last one is to be motivated. And those key factors are something you can write down in your journal, and you can go by category of what and how you want that to look for you in your life. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen and children, this is going to pave the way of what you want to deal with by really dealing with you and what you want at hand. You can explain this whole process about grief to so many people, but in reality, people say, "Well, you'll be fine. You'll get no. You can't get over something you won't want to get over." Okay, and that's the true honesty about that. So I've just been encouraged to teach you all and express my viewpoint of this subject matter of how I've dealt with mine and how I continue to work through it. But for myself, closure and happiness is where I'm at right now. All right, everybody. I'll see you back here tomorrow about 10:30. I hope you all have a fantastic and a blessed Tuesday. Don't forget we have Bible study for Ladies United Ministry tomorrow at 7:30. Have a blessed and a phenomenal day, congregation. Be blessed, be empowered, and be